I'm looking forward to it because I personally have not seen any of this equipment, so I'm looking forward to it a lot. And thank you all for coming. We'll have lunch here a little later, courtesy of Dominic's and Motorola. And Kathy, it's your show.
Thanks, guys. Chief Summers, thank you so much for hosting us and allowing us to come to this beautiful facility today. Chief Summers really said it all. We've done this one at a time. We had Motorola, they worked with us and came in and showed us the different radios. And the radios that most of you guys have now, Motorola, we're not selling those anymore. So as we look at, 5 years from now, when parts will no longer be available and you're trying to make decisions about which radios you're going to use, I mean, Motorola has a very, very diverse selection of radios in this portfolio. So within the APX line, there are still 11 different radios. So as we were talking through, what does that look like for each of these departments in each of these cities, Chief Summers said, gosh, I would love to see them all. What we don't want to do is come to you and say, this is what you need. We're in the radio business, so we can show you what we have and what's available and the features and the sets, but we want you to be fully aware of why you're choosing the radios that you're choosing on this migration path. So our plan is, after this meeting today, hopefully you'll walk out of here and you'll know of these 11 radios, which ones would best suit your agency. And then we'll come sit down with each one of you and go through that and help you come up with budget numbers and decide, some departments that we've talked to want to go ahead and try to replace all of their radios right now so that they don't have to worry about 2 sets of accessories and different training for different officers. Some want to do 20% this year, 20% the next year, and work it over a 5-year period. So today is the whole point is not to just listen to a presentation, but it's supposed to be hands-on, and Renata's got all these radios here, and barring no call-outs, Chief Wells from Gwinnett County is going to have an engine come up about 11 o'clock, and we'll do a demo with that engine so that you can see how the speaker and the noise level works with this new APX line. So very interactive. If you've got any questions, stop us. Lisa has got drinks back there.
I pulled everything out. It's right there at the fingertips.
Lisa has everything right there. We'll have lunch right at 12 o'clock because we will make sure that you guys can get out of here by 12:30. So if you've got any questions, Glenn, does anybody? All right, Renata, thank you for coming in this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, so as Lisa said, it would be great if this is an interactive discussion. So if you have any questions, please stop me at any time. I come from Plantation, Florida. There's a facility, a Motorola facility there, and that's where all the P25 subscribers are developed as far as hardware engineering and software engineering, as well as we have a lot of we have testing facilities there, testing labs, and even in something that we call an APX Experience Center, where we invite our customers to come over and see the whole portfolio of APX radios and to see them in action. We have a live TDMA system there, and I invite you to come to Plantation, Florida, whenever you feel like. So it would be great to have you there. Today, the agenda is first we're going to talk about the APX portfolio in general, just, with the series of radios that we have, feature sets that we offer only with the APX line. Then at the end, we'll talk a little bit about some applications exclusive for the APX series, as well as the accessories. And you have your brochures there on the tables, so feel free to go through them while I present. If you have any questions, let me know again. So this is our APX portfolio. We have four tiers here in the screen. So the first one is the APX 7000, 7500. That's our multi-band tier. So we'll do 7800 and VHF. I understand there is not a big need here in this region, but just so you know, this is our ultra high tier. And then we have our single band tier, which is the high tier, which is the APX 6000, 6500. This tier incorporates all the features the advanced features that are available with the ultra high tier series, the multi-band series, but in a single band version. So we'll do 7,800, which fits your needs. And then we have the APX 4000, 4500, which is more of an entry tier radio. And it also incorporates most of the advanced features of the APX series, but it has some limitations as far as channel capacity, encryption, depending on which series of the APX 4000 series you get. It may not do Bluetooth, GPS, some of the special features. But again, it's a rugged radio that's designed for public safety as well. It's just different form factor. And then the last one is the XC series. XC stands for Extreme Environments. This series was designed with the fire market in mind. We interviewed firefighters from all over the country, and they told us we want a radio with knobs as big as tennis balls. Buttons are extra large for easy to use with gloved operation. A emergency button that's as big as a dime. So we try to do the best we can, but we do have a lot of police users that do like this ergonomic effect, the ergonomics of this radio as well. I'll pass it around in a minute. This is a summary slide showing you most of the APX advantages. So the first one in the list there is the APX. The APX series is capable of between 5-phase 2 TDMA. So we'll do 6.25 bandwidth. And I understand that's important here because you will be eventually migrating to TDMA probably in the future. So as Ron told me before, it's Ron, okay. There is some thought about including TDMA with all the APEX that are purchased here in this county. So all the APX radios are capable of migrating to between 5-phase 2 TDMA. So that's very important. And then all the APX portables have dual microphone noise cancellation. And we'll demonstrate it here at the end of this presentation, but it's phenomenal. What it does is each APX portable has 2 microphones, one in the front and one in the back. And those 2 microphones work in tandem to focus on the user's voice and cancel the background noise around it. It does that every 5 milliseconds. It's very, very effective. The user can be turning around and the noise will be canceled just as well as if you were speaking just on one side. So always be looking for where your voice is coming from, and we'll be focusing the sensitivity on that information.
Hey, Renata, those key features checked on there across the entire APX line, correct?
Yes, across all the tiers. All the tiers are presented on the slide before. All those features are available. If you get a light version of APX 4000, for example, it may not have Bluetooth, but yeah,
You
but
can
on
buy
the
it as an
standard,
option.
on the standard models, all features are available. Bluetooth, yeah. So we have Motorola offers something called mission critical Bluetooth. So if you see here in the back of the portable, it has a blue dot. We offer something called the mission critical Bluetooth because it's different than commercial off-the-shelf that you may have with your cell phone. And it uses near-field pairing technology to pair the radio and the accessory. So you just bring the 2, there's a blue dot here in the accessory as well. You just bring those 2 blue dots together. Just click the button. And the radio and the accessory is paired, all right? I just brought them together and they're paired. So it's very easy to pair. You don't have to go through a list, search the device, try to figure out which is the right device that you're looking for. Very easy. And then after it's paired, doing the pairing, it creates a 256 AES encryption link. So nobody's going to be able to hack into your conversation and listen to what you're saying. So first of all, nobody's going to be able to pair with your radio because you have to be this close. And nobody's going to be able to listen to your conversation as well. And when you PTT, so you have the wireless PTT pod that will stay around here, for example. And you can have your earpiece right here that you can PTT. When you PTT with this pod is as fast as if you were PTTing on the radio itself.
How far from the radio can that be
disconnect it, so the question is how far from the radio can the accessory be? So the specifications is 30 feet line of sight, but it will do a lot more than that. We even had customers who forgot the radio at home, realized like when they were far away that the radio wasn't there because it was too connected. But in order to disconnect, so if let's say you need to disconnect from the radio, you can just press a button and it will disconnect. Intelligent lighting is a feature that uses color to indicate which mode the radio is in. So for example, if you receive an emergency, you see that the top display is orange and the front display has an orange bar on it. So this orange indicates emergency. And the reason we designed this feature is because our brains can process color a lot faster than it can process words or sounds. So it's a quick way for you to see which mode the radio is in. So you can just look down and you look at the top display and you see it's orange, it's emergency. If you see a red color, it means that the radio is losing communication with the system. And so, for example, if the radio is running low on battery, you would be losing communication with the system. It would be a red color indication. If you're going out of range, you will see a red color indication as well, or fail soft mode. And then green color is indicating if you're receiving a call. I don't know if call alerts or private calls or pages are popular here, but that could be the green color indication. Any questions so far? And then we have something called radio profiles. Radio profiles are very similar to cell phone technology, where you can go into your cell phone and change to a meeting mode, and no tones would come out. Your cell phone is in vibrate mode. So with the radio, you can have something called the surveillance profile, where no lights or tones would come out. You can have a profile that's specific for high noise environments. So you can have an extreme profile, so you know you're going to be going to an extreme noisy environment. You can change your audio settings to tweak a little bit to further suppress the noise. And so essentially you can combine any light and audio settings with this radio profiles feature. You can strap the profile to a particular channel, or you can change the profile on the fly using your menu selection on the screen. GPS is a feature that requires data capability in the system, which you have, right? Data, so you can have GPS enabled. All the APX come with the GPS hardware internal to the radio, the mobiles and the portables. So all you would have to do is enable that feature. With that feature, you can see the latitude and longitude coordinates on your radio screen, and then the dispatch can actually pull your coordinates via time-based, distance-based, or maybe if you press emergency, it would also show them where you are. So it's customizable, and it's there. And know that those features, all of those actually that I just mentioned, those are not available with your current XTS radio.
Is there an application that works in conjunction with a GPS configuration where you get a geographical or graphical display?
Yeah, yes, you would have to use third-party application providers of your choice to map.
We're basically providing, and we're using the radio system as a pipeline to get it there, the coordinates, and then specially equipped hardware and software will take those coordinates and put it into a usable format.
Renata, I have a question. But in the beginning, you were talking about the 4,000 and the 4,500, that part of the limitations were Bluetooth and GPS.
The
So
light version of
the-
the
okay, just
APX 4000 Lite.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't go into all the details about our portfolio. We have a lot of different tiers, and the reason for that is that we want to make sure we have a tier for every specific agency and for every need. So we're not selling you something you don't need or are going to use. So on the APX 6000 and 4000 series, we have light versions, and they have limited software capabilities in that particular series line.
And who are the typical users for those light radios? Is that more like a public utilities type user, or?
Yeah, so the APX 4000, typically we call it entry tier radio, and yes, EMS, public works, but we do have some police users that do standardize on the APX 4000 as well. It depends. It does have a very different form factor. We'll talk about it later in the presentation. It has a one-knob design to change, one-knob design that's used for channel and volume control. So some of our police users and fire users don't, sometimes they don't want to change what they're used to. They don't want to retrain their users with that one-knob design. It's a smaller form factor, doesn't offer all the, multiple encryption algorithms. So it has some limitations, but it depends. But it's definitely a radio that's rated for public safety as well. Not just public works and then all the APX software color display. We'll go over it in a minute, but they all have this LCD display that's scratch resistant and extremely durable. You can run over it with a fire truck and you won't break. It looks like your cell phone display, but it's nothing like it. It's very thick, scratch resistant. And what's nice about it when you compare it to your XTS is that it has a 175 degree viewing angle. Not 180 because you're not gonna, but 175, so which you didn't have with your XTS. And also when you use your polarized sunglasses, you can see the display just fine. There's no rainbow effect like you had with your XTS. So a lot of improvement. It's a very large screen. Color screen is very large. Does anybody have a knife? I'm sure you do. But you could just try to, just try to scratch it and then show everybody. It's pretty impressive. You can't scratch. You can't scratch the lid. And then the top display. With your XTS, we didn't have a top display. With APX, we incorporated this bigger control top with a top display. And what is nice about it is that you don't have to take your radio out of your pocket to see which channel zone you're in. You can just look down and see, oh, okay, I know which channel I'm in. You can also use a voice announcement for that. But it's nice to have a display up top. Or if it's in your pocket, you can just look down. But yeah, with APX, it's a really neat design because we have this T-grip, which allows for more space in the top, and also the inclusion of this top display, and more spaced out knobs as well. And all APX comes standard with IP67 submersibility. What is that? That is some specification that says it's submersible. This radio is submersible for 1 meter, 30 minutes at least. It will do a lot more than that. We have the radio over there in the tank, and as you can see, it's fully functioning. Testing. This is an APX 6000 underwater. But yeah, they have the 6000 and 7000 series have an internal metal housing that seals the radio from inside out. So that radio actually is cut off and is still fully submersible.
I have a question, Renata. The Bluetooth, you said you can disconnect it from the Bluetooth device. What if an officer is in pursuit or something and it falls off? Is there a way to disconnect it from the radio?
Yeah, it's from the radio, yeah. You would press a button on the radio, or like a menu button or a side button. However way it's programmed, you would clear it and it would route the radio back to the radio.
Okay.
I personally would do it as a button press, so you can quickly just press the button and the audio is routed. Yeah. So as I said before we designed the APX series, we had the XTS, and we were thinking about the APX series. We wanted to do something completely different, revolutionary. So we interviewed users like you from all over the country, and we asked, what do you want in the radio? And you said, well, I want a smaller radio that has more battery life, that has better specifications, that has better audio, and please don't forget, I want it very, very small. So we tried to do the best we can with the APX series, and as you can see, very, very different from the XTS. It has a stick grip design, it's smaller, it does have more battery life, better specifications, so, and it's even TDMA capable. This is just an illustration of what I just said before. You see this radio is cut off. It's the same radio that we have over there in the tank. This metal housing here seals the radio completely from inside out, and that plastic housing is there to absorb the impact. But this radio is fully submersible as it is. This is just an illustration of one of the tests that we do in the plantation labs. This is a 150 milligram steel slug that we drop 1 meter on the screen. That's part of our certification for APX series. Any questions so far? Just one note, so the radio comes standard with this 1 meter, 30 minutes for stability, but you can also have 2 meters, 2 hours. We call that delta T. And actually the XC series comes standard with like an additional level of submersibility. On the APX we do use something called the Class D amplifier. We use the best amplifier in the market, so as you can see, the audio is connected. So I'm just going to clear it. In this case, I did it from a button press.
Cat 3.
Again.
Cat 4.
So we have a 1-watt speaker on the APX 7000 series with this Class D amplifier, which is the best amplifier in the market.
Cat 5.
It's not just a standard 1-watt speaker. It's a 1-watt speaker with a 3-watt maximum. So as you can see,
Cat 6.
it's extremely loud and clear. The 6000 is not as loud, but it's very clear as well. So I'm just going to show you the difference.
Fire 1. Cat 1. Hospital 1.
So it's a 500 milliwatt speaker like your XTS, but you would probably know that
Police
the
2.
sound quality is a little bit better. And I have encryption.
Hospital 1.
On the XC series, and actually the other ones as well, we offer something called the XC Audio Pro XC noise suppression. That is an additional level of noise suppression beyond the dual microphone noise canceling. So when you go into very loud environments, it will suppress noises like the SCBA pass alarm, the pumper panel, as we're going to see later today, or the chainsaw, so extremely loud noises. We did develop another layer of noise suppression. And by the way, on noise suppression, a lot of the other vendors, they don't do any noise suppression. They just rely on the vocoder, which converts the analog signal to digital signal. You just rely on the vocoder for noise suppression. We make sure that we clean the voice signal before it gets to the vocoder. So we don't rely just on the vocoder. We do our best, and we have even 2 levels of noise suppression before it even gets to the vocoder, because when we do that, then the vocoder can do its job better, and you receive a clear signal that's more clear on the receiving end. This is just an illustration of how our dual microphone noise canceling works. You see it's minimizing the sensitivity in the direction of the background noise and maximizing the sensitivity in the direction of the user's voice. And I'm going to play an audio that's going to showcase what we're going to see later today. As far as noise suppression, and this is a fire truck.
This short video will showcase the dual microphone noise suppression technology featured in every APX portable radio. In this first scenario, David will showcase the adaptive beamforming technology that allows the dual microphones to track the talker and noise source, in this case a fire truck pump panel, simultaneously. To give an idea of how loud this environment is, we'll play a short clip of just the audio picked up by the camera. Now here's what a receiving radio heard.
Technology allows me to rotate the radio and speak into the front microphone as well as the back microphone while continuing to track my voice as well as the background audio and cancel that simultaneously.
In this scenario, the APX 7000 XC will be canceling the background noise created by a chainsaw as it cuts through wood. Once again, here's the audio picked up by the camera. In order to get an idea of how much background noise is being attenuated by the radio, the first clip shown here will be with noise cancellation turned off, followed immediately with the noise cancellation switched back on. Mission-critical users are frequently subjected to very loud environments. Being able to make out what is said in the presence of high background noise is essential for user safety.
And I'm just gonna play with the fire noise. I'm just gonna play a one-way switch here. How it would set up sound expression with the fire set of fire noise. The same idea. This is the audio picked up by the camera, and then you can hear the audio picked up by the singer.
Location 1, 2, 3, Solar Boulevard. Command, order 1, 2 out, OP deployed. Tango 46, this is Tango 43. We have reached the first checkpoint. We are dismounting and moving on to the next objective.
So yeah, so you get the idea, and then we're gonna hear it outside. Any questions so far? No?
What, excuse me,
Yes.
as far as the waterproofing or water resistance, what about the lapel mics?
They're also rated for submersibility. I have to, depending on which accessory you have, it has different ratings. I believe most of them are IP54, which are not like completely fully submersible. They're definitely water resistant. But the XC version is should be submersible as well.
In the situation that you would be interested in, the standard public safety speaker mic, which has the antenna on it, it's not rated for submersibility, but it is designed to be operated out in the pouring rain. One of the things that we do on our radios and our speaker microphone, it's not just important to keep the radio out, the water out of the mechanism, it's important to quickly drain that water off so that your voice is not muffled by the thickness of the water. So in the design of the casings on both the speaker microphones and the radios, it's designed to funnel that water out. There was a situation here in Georgia not too long ago where a storm, officers were working out in the rain and the radios were not designed for that, and they had to keep shaking them upside down to get the water out. Certainly not the case in this situation.
So I just submersed this one in water right now. So I just submersed it. I'm gonna take it out. Let's see. It'll probably be a little muffled, but you're gonna see that. Has
Presentation, APX 6000.
probably enough the budget. This is
This is
the
the XC voice speaker microphone that went underwater. As you can see, it's not mobile at all.
Yeah, this XC remote speaker microphone does have, on the speakers, it does have these, this rubber to improve the water porting. But the other ones, we can test the other ones after the presentation, you can see. Do you use the speaker mic, the public safety speaker microphones with the antenna on it? Okay, but we have one of those here, so we can test it out. I talked about these features in the channel announcement. I don't know if you use channel announcement today with the XCS series. The voice announcement that announces which channel you're in.
Cat 5, Cat 4.
So with channel announcement, you can program any voice to come out of the radio in a specific channel. So I particularly, I use one of those online softwares that are available to convert text to voice, and usually I program the radios to say exactly what the channel is saying. But you can use your own voice, program whatever you want. We do have pre-selected voice recorded in the customer programmable software. So there are several choices. The channel announcement on APX is improved from the XTS series. With APX, you can announce channel and zone separately. You can even have channel announcement on the mobiles. And then the radio will announce features like
Scan off. Scan on.
So features like that, you will also announce it. This is something we didn't offer with the XTS. And if you're using programming over the air, those voice files will also be sent over the air. It may take a little bit longer, but they can be sent over the air with APX. As far as the radios themselves, this is the APX 6000 series. There are 3 models on the 6000 series, the Model 2 that has the partial keypad, which I envision that most of you would probably need in Gwinnett County, right? And then we have a version with the full keypad. A few advantages of an example of an advantage of having the full keypad is a feature called Mode Select. You can have like presets, like shortcuts, presets of specific channels that you use the most. So with Mode Select, you can press and hold. Let's say I wanna save this channel to position number 1. I just press and hold, and it will save the channel to this position. I'll show you here. So right now it's VHF back 4. You just heard the beep. It's saved. So if I change the channel,
Cat 5.
I can go back to before just by pressing this number 1 key. So just hold, and it will save. Just like your radio, right? Your car radio. Very similar. Just press and hold, and you can have the shortcuts. So it's going to be very useful. There's a couple of other advantages like front panel programming, text messaging, freeform text messaging, and so on. And then we have Model 1, which just has the top display. It doesn't have a front display at all, or a keypad. So Model 1, Model 2, and Model 3. And the 6000 comes with 1000 channels. I'm sure it's more than enough than what you need. Encryption, you can have multiple encryption algorithms. I know you're using only AES, limited AES right now, so we'll do that. Another advantage of the APX series when compared to the XTS is that the UCM board for encryption is already in the radio, so you don't have to choose if you're going to have it in there or not. It's there. So anytime in the future you want to enable encryption, hardware encryption, you can. You just connect the radio to keyloader, and you load the encryption directly to the MACE board. That's our encryption module.
But now, why would you not encrypt it? Under what circumstances would you not encrypt it if it's already in the radio?
Well, the circumstance would be cost, because the module is in there, the hardware is in there, but then you still have to get the software as an option to the radio. So cost may be an issue. With APX, we do offer ADP encryption is an alternate to standard FIPS encryption. We call it advanced digital privacy. We call it encryption. It's a 40-bit encryption which is pretty good, and you can use it out of the box. The APX comes with ADP with one key. It comes with the hardware version and the software version. The software version, you would use the software programmable the custom programmable software to put your encryption keys. You would type them in. With the hardware version, you would have to load the keys with the KPL. So it comes with both forms of ADP with one key only as a standard feature of the radio. So you see a module, ADP is a standard feature of the APX series that you didn't have with the XCS. Another feature that you didn't have with the XCS is the fact that now when you use your public safety microphones, the microphone is the antenna, you can connect it directly to the side connector. There is no need for an adapter. I understand some of those adapters would break, right? So with APX, you see those 3 connections here up top. Those are for the RF path, so they come directly from the radio.
Before we leave encryption, I mean, the majority of our audience here is law enforcement. I'm curious, what encryption, if any, are being used right now in the various departments represented here? Are we using AES or ADP? What?
It's all, the whole county, I think, is AES, right?
No, ADP.
ADP.
Okay.
Yeah, and then SWAT teams and things of that nature are AES.
Or AES. Okay. Because quite frankly, the ADP part of it will kind of dictate, that's kind of a differentiator that would dictate which series of radio you wanted to look at.